The book of Exodus begins with a transition from a story about a single family to a story about a nation. After Yosef saved the Egyptians from starvation at the end of Genesis and became the right-hand man of Pharaoh, the fortunes of the Israelites changed dramatically. Pasuk 8. Vayakam melech chadash al Mitzrayim asher lo yada Yosef. A new king arose over Egypt who do not know Yosef. Rashi brings a debate in the Talmud between Rav and Shmuel. One held that this was a brand new king, and the other felt this king simply gave new edicts. Chizkuni explains that because the text did not mention the previous Pharaoh dying, this was the same king who simply changed policy. The thread that this was the same king who simply changed his mind is difficult from a timeline perspective. The text explains that the entire generation of Yosef had died out. In Pasuk 6, Vayamat Yosef v'chol echav v'chol adorahu. Yosef died and all his brothers and all that generation. That would make this king very, very old. On the other hand, it is possible that the king was a child at the time that Yosef came into the picture. As he grew older, he changed his policies toward the Israelites. Later in Tanakh, there will be kings of Judah and Israel that will start off as one type of king, whether righteous or wicked, and by the end of their reign, they would flip. For example, Yoash in 2 Chronicles 24. It is therefore not unrealistic that Pharaoh would change his tune as he grew older. Another question is how Pharaoh could forget that Yosef saved Egypt during the famine years after he instituting a policy that enriched the crown. The simple answer is that this is not out of the ordinary. If this was a brand new Pharaoh, he might have wanted to make a clean break from the previous regime. Modern-day politicians often try to undo the work of the previous administrations, even if that work was positive. This would be the case even if the new Pharaoh was the son of the previous one. Later in Tanakh as well, it is not uncommon to see a righteous king of Judah followed by an extremely wicked one, despite the good that the parent brought to the nation. For example, Manasseh, the wicked king, who follows Chizkiyahu, one of the most righteous ones. Pharaoh could have been elevated in a precarious position and needed an easy scapegoat to gain favor quickly. Unfortunately, this is also a well-known tactic that lasts to this day. Historically, there are some Egyptologists who believe that Yosef's story took place around the time of foreign control in Egypt by a group called the Hyksos. This theory is widely discussed in academic circles. The Hyksos were Semitic rulers who controlled parts of Egypt during the Second Intermediate Period, around 1650 to 1515 BCE. Many scholars suggest that if Yosef rose to power under Hyksos rule, this new king in Exodus could refer to an Egyptian dynasty that expelled the Hyksos and sought to erase their influence, making the Israelites, who were associated with Semitic outsiders already, a political liability. This fits the narrative of a Pharaoh who did not know Yosef, because he deliberately rejected the policies and alliances of the previous regime.